Joining us now is Republican Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma to parse all of it. Senator, thank you very much for being here.
Sure, thanks, Tom.
I really appreciate it. Let's talk about Ukraine. There is a lot of support for finding a negotiated end to what is now a 3-year war with a whole lot of bloodshed. But there also seems to be a big change in America's foreign policy. For 80 years, we've said bigger countries can't invade smaller ones and take their land. Are we seeing a new era, a definitive Trump doctrine when it comes to foreign policy?
I don't think it's a matter of allowing big countries to invade small ones. That's definitely not the Trump doctrine. Trump doctrine seems to be, hey, let's find resolutions that work well for both sides of this, and let's try to establish lasting peace. It's funny, a number of people that have called me and said, well, Trump prefers Putin. I was like, that's absurd. Trump, the very first dignitary meeting that he had was with Zelensky, which obviously made news, but he chose to be able to meet not with Putin first, but with Zelensky first, to be able to establish the framework and to be able to announce, here's how we're going to work towards peace. That's a good thing to be able to see.
Yeah, but when you have a situation where, and it seems that everybody agrees that this is going to happen, for there to be peace, Putin is going to hold on to some of the land he's captured in this war. Right. If that's true, what's the lesson for China when it looks at Taiwan or any other hungry, larger country when it looks at its borders?
It's the challenge just with Putin, period. Obviously, when Putin invaded Crimea, when President Obama was president, he took over that land. The big emphasis was he's got to be out of Crimea. A decade later, he's still in Crimea. It wasn't actually pushed out. Then he came in. Putin obviously said he was going to go all the way to Kyiv and take over all of Ukraine, or as much as he wanted. The Ukrainians fought tenaciously, pushed him to the Donbass, and now it's a stalemate there. The fear is that this is long-term something like North Korea and South Korea, where there's not a recognized end to the war, but it's two sides still facing each other with a line drawn and no recognition. Really, the North Koreans should be there in that area, and the South Koreans can't push back the other direction. That's the challenge for the Ukrainian people. The first goal that President Trump's bringing is, let's bring peace to the area. Let's actually sit down and talk rather than kill each other in the process and figure out where this is going to go from here.
So I hear you saying it's not a new era of foreign policy in America, although some of the rhetoric has changed, but it is definitely a new era when it comes to free trade. Moving on to tariffs here. Overnight, 12:01, we now have steep tariffs on Canada and Mexico. The president has explained these as necessary to bring border security, and then when it comes to China, slow the flow of fentanyl into the country. But everyone seems to think it's going to go up. It's going to raise prices. Warren Buffett said the tooth fairy doesn't pay these, right? So really, I mean, what should your constituents, what should Americans be ready to sacrifice here toward those goals?
So interestingly enough, it is kind of a new era in foreign policy. You mentioned this. I didn't mean to say it's not a new era in foreign policy. It is. It's definitely an America First perspective to say, hey, we're going to find a way to be able to make sure Americans are taken care of. We are the United States of America. We're not going to just give away everything. And what President Trump started with was lots of countries have 50, 100% tariffs on United States goods. We're not going to allow that. We're going to have reciprocal tariffs. We're going to push back on that. The same thing with Mexico and Canada. What we've seen, obviously, in Mexico in the past several years has been a dramatic increase in illegal immigration coming across the border, and the Mexican authorities haven't stopped it. They just basically allowed people to be able to pass through. President Trump said, I'm going to put major tariffs on this because I want fentanyl to stop. I want illegal immigration to stop. Last week, we had one day last week, less than 200 people even tried to cross our southern border. Less than 200. Go backwards a year in December of 2023, 12,000 people a day were illegally crossing our border. So huge difference. You put pressure on them. The Mexicans sent 10,000 additional troops. The Canadians have doubled their border crossing, try to stop fentanyl there. So he's using the leverage he has.
Big change, very popular with a lot of people in Oklahoma as well. But if the cost of a pickup truck goes up $9,000 or $8,000, which is one of the estimates, do people need to be prepared to sacrifice?
Sure. People will definitely say, hey, I don't want to spend this much on it. I think what President Trump is doing right now is saying, let's negotiate. Let's actually put pressure on others to be able to act, to be able to stop the illegal flow of people and fentanyl into our country. It's working right now. There's been a dramatic impact on that. And I think as it works, President Trump will turn to them and say, we're going to turn the tariffs down. We're just not going to ignore the problem. We're going to use the leverage that we have. But President Trump's keenly aware of what could happen on that. A Ford pickup truck crosses that border 8 times during the process on that. That'd be a lot of tariffs and a lot of increase. And I can tell you it's a popular product in Oklahoma for good reason.
Yeah, no, I saw a lot of them when I was there. Look, Senator, appreciate you stopping by with us. It's going to be a late night there in the Capitol and a long day ahead for you. So thank you very much for your perspective.
Glad to do it.
Appreciate it. Senator Lankford.